One of my backgrounds, as you guys know, is on top of being a business coach and a real estate coach, is also a strong NLP background. So one of the things I focus on quite a bit is understanding where negative thoughts come from. We see it in coaching all the time. First thing I want everybody to know about negative thought processes is it's totally freaking normal. All right. So a lot of people walk around the world and they try to say, if anybody has a negative thought, they're like, oh, that's a negative person or that's a terrible person. And it's like, no, first thing I want to get right out of the gate, it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, what business you're in, you are going to have negative thoughts. Okay. I'm going to put it in perspective for some of you because it's incredible. The average person has anywhere from about 12 to 60,000 thoughts a day. That's 12 to, oh, and I'm sorry. Somebody just texted me and said, hey, you started already. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm early today. Anyway, miracle. That's all I'm going to say. Actually, I'm just trying, like I said, I'm trying to get this dog to not bite me. So anyway, but he's sound asleep. So we're lucky. Okay. So the average person has anywhere from 12 to 60,000 thoughts in a day. Okay. And when you're thinking of the 12 to, and now if you're a heavy thinker, you're probably going to have 60K. I like to think that I'm up in the 60,000 thoughts per day, unless I'm like in a really tired mood, then I'm not going to. So 12 to 60,000 thoughts that cross your mind. What really blows, and I don't think we understand the magnitude of that. That's 12,000 things running through your head minimum. That is for somebody who is like literally maybe just like sedentary in their brain. The average person who is still probably watching this in business, in real estate, you guys are going to be closer to that 40 to 60,000 thoughts running through your head a day. Imagine what 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day running through your head is like. That's incredible. You have no idea how much the brain actually does. It's mind-blowing. So you have between 12 and 60,000. An average working professional would be higher than that 40,000 mark. Somebody who's retired might be in the lower 12 to, let's say, 18,000, kind of thing. But for most of us, we're over 40,000 thoughts a day, all the way up to 60,000. So the most ironic part about this is 80% of those thoughts, 80%. Like not 2, 3, 4, 80% of those thoughts are negative. That's 80% of your thoughts. If you're running at like 80% of 40,000 thoughts hitting your brain, then don't beat people up if they're negative. Okay. Because 80% of those 40 plus thousand thoughts that enter your head in a day are negative. And the best part is that 95% of those negative thoughts are repetitive. So you're going to be repeating the same nasty shit to yourself every single day. So that's why, like, when I was really overweight, the negative thoughts about my weight always came into my head. Like I was like, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, this looks bad. That looks bad. So I can understand how the 95%, usually it's things that really irritate you. If you're not succeeding at sales, you're going to be like, I'm a loser. I'm terrible. I can't do this. I'm never going to make money. I'm blah, 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 blah. So you're going to have 80% of your thoughts running through the day are negative. 95% of those negative thoughts are repetitive. Okay, that's where the danger zone comes from, but it's also where the hope comes from because you can actually change it. A lot of those people that you think are probably high as kites and they're happy all the time, it's not that they're happy all the time. They've just learned mechanisms to move them through faster. So you can change it. It's 100% changeable. You will still have a little bit of the negative thoughts enter, but you can take like 40, you can take that 80% of negative thoughts and probably run it down to about a 50-50. And those 50% of people who are walking around super happy all the time, they still have negative thoughts. They know how to block them faster and they know how to get out of them faster. So that's what I'm going to show you a little bit about today, which I think is really important. Your negative thoughts are far more powerful than your positive thoughts. That's the other thing you have to remember. It is way easier to say that you hate yourself than it is to say that you love yourself. Okay, that is the craziest thing, but it is. Okay, and we can get into all the psychosomatic reasons why, but there's no reason why we need to do that. You just need to understand that the reason why 80% are negative thoughts and why 95% are repetitive is because we actually, it's way more powerful. To be negative on yourself and to be hard on yourself is way more powerful than being positive to yourself. To say, hey, I did a great job. We're always looking for the things, An easy way of why we suck. And an easy way to kind of do that is watch TV commercials and stuff. They're always telling you you're not good enough, right? Like you see a TV show. Oh shit, everybody's in love and happy. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I should be in love and happy too. If I'm not, then my life sucks and I'm not happy and that's just how it is. Oh, everybody should have the newest car. Oh shit, my car's not new. I suck. I don't have any money to buy a new car. Whatever, right? Oh, everybody should have the latest cell phones. Everybody should have perfect bodies. They should all have perfect bodies because that's a reality. So of course you're going to beat yourself up over that shit. You're having 40,000+ thoughts a day, and 80% are running negative, 95% repetitive. They're coming from somewhere. Okay. And most of the time it's because the standards that you're seeing, even now on social media, if you notice, every single person posts fucking fantastic things. Sorry, I'm totally going to get kicked off of Facebook for saying that. But anyway, everybody posts effing fantastic things on Facebook. So the measurable of you having everything perfect is not possible. Okay. We should have, like, literally, I totally believe this, as a holiday every month. They should have one day. It should be like the first Monday, the first Monday of every month. It should be no filter Facebook. And it should be like, you cannot lie. You cannot lie. You cannot put a filter on. You have to, if you're going to post anything, has to be real shit, has to be true. And then you have to literally, just for the day, everybody has to describe what went wrong, what they're really thinking, what's really going on. And it's like, that would be amazing, because the pressure and the negative thought thing is just, it's getting more and more and more. Okay. Now, the two things that I caution you guys about is that you really want to pay attention to this today, because the negative thoughts can have a physiological, so it can have a physical effect on you and a mental effect. Okay. So before we get into why you're thinking negative, it has a twofold thing. So if you're a constant negative thinker and you're not finding a solution behind it, it could be showing up in signs of addiction. It could be showing up in your physical well-being. It is definitely, there is enough research to show that a person who constantly is not looking for solutions to get out of negative thoughts can give themselves heart ailments. It's very much, the stress that you put in through your body. Mental wellness. I know plenty of people in business, and that's why I'm talking about this, who are always beating themselves up, or they're the business, or it's not good enough, or it's this, or it's that. And then what ends up happening is that they make themselves sick. They either gain a lot of weight, or they pick up addiction, or they're depressed, or they feel like there's no way out. So there are solutions to this. So it is very important to actually pay attention to this. So there are I would say there's 4 reasons really why you have negative thoughts, and we need to understand those before we go on fixing them. First one is what we refer to as an evolutionary function. Okay. And an evolutionary function just means it's your negative thoughts have evolved, okay, over as a survival mechanism to help us avoid danger and stay safe. Okay. So by anticipating potential threats and risks, we're able to protect ourselves. And that's really what it comes down to. An evolutionary function can show up in many people where and it's not as common as other things, but it's a survival mechanism. Okay. So it basically is like, if you have been brought up to not trust, or whatever the case is, then your probably evolutionary function is going to show up in that area. But it's really just about potential threats, right? So it's like, you wouldn't see it as much in this. Past experiences is where we see it. That's number 2. Past experiences are our biggest ones. Okay. I would say that it accounts for, I'd say 50% of the people that I coach that have negative thoughts. It's past experiences. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I got to shut that down. Who calls me during a Facebook Live? Really? Ugh. Tisk. All right. So there's not one Facebook Live that something doesn't go haywire. But anyway, past experiences. So negative thoughts may also stem from like your past experiences, like traumatic events, negative feedback constantly coming your way. If you're in a difficult relationship, you might have that. If you're in an office that has a lot of negative people in it as well, very interesting. These experiences can create patterns of negative thinking that are very difficult to break. The past experience in one is very, very, very challenging. And I see that all the time. Okay. Myself, I would say that's where most of my negative stuff comes from, is past experiences. I'll tell you my second one in a second, which is the other 50% I would say that I see it from in coaching a lot of the times. So your past experiences, again, that's a really challenging one. But if you have grown up in that environment where traumatic events, negative feedback consistently, or if you're in a terrible relationship and it's very negative about let's say you're not selling, okay, and you have a partner and your partner's like, you're not making any money. You're terrible. Why don't you get a job? Why don't you get a job? And they're always harping on you negatively. then you know what? Then that's generally, that's where past experiences would kind of come in. Or if you had a big marriage breakup and that person was like, just berated you over and over and over again, that you weren't any successful, then those past experiences will come up when you're tired. They'll always be barking on your shoulder unless you actually have some coping mechanism we'll talk about today. The next one, that's a big one. The third one is a cognitive bias. Our brains are wired to prioritize negative information over positive. Okay, so if you're which also is the biggest contributing factor to negative thoughts. Okay, and it's known as a negativity bias. This is a huge one. I have it. Everybody has it. It's impossible not to. It can cause you to overestimate the likelihood of negative outcomes and underestimate positive ones. So a cognitive bias is what we see a lot. Okay. So for example, if it's only May 15th. Okay. It's May 15th. We're legit only on our 5th month into 12. Okay. So if you're sitting there and you want to know if you have a cognitive bias, very easy. Start asking yourself a question. Like if you're not succeeding at a high level and it's just in that 5-month mark into the year, we're not even in the end of the 5th month, but then all that's coming up is you're going to suck. You're going to go broke. You're going to have to buy craft dinner in bulk because that's it. That's all you're going to be able to eat for the next year. If you're there and you don't see that you can turn your entire year around on May 15th, and you're writing it off already, you have a cognitive bias that's very strong. It's normal, but you're overestimating negative outcomes instead of overestimating the positive ones. So you're underestimating that anything positive can happen and you're overestimating the negative ones. Okay. And that's a really big problem that I see all the time in this industry. And I would say that your cognitive biases are the most important ones that you really want to look at. Okay. That's where I see 99%. When you focus too much on what we refer to as the gap, you'll have somebody who's, let's say, I don't know, done 20 deals, hypothetically this year, but their goal was 80. Okay. And they're sitting there and they're going, man, I've done 20 deals. I'm 60 behind. I'm terrible. I'm a horrible person. No, you're not. You're going to make that up. Let's just figure out how to make it up. Right? What can positive happen? And the person's stuck in negative. So a cognitive bias, again, is where you prioritize your negative information over positive information. It contributes the highest level to negative thinking. Always. I see it in business. I see it in real estate agents. Cognitive bias is the biggest. Okay. So another example in real estate, brilliant one. If you're going and let's say you're putting an offer in on a place. Okay. And the market's tight and you're like, well, I'm never going to get it because I know there's no offers now, but there'll be 10 offers tonight. That's a cognitive bias. Sure, it might be true, but it hasn't come true yet. Instead of, why aren't you thinking, and this is not because I want you to be delusional, but why aren't you thinking more positive? Why aren't you saying, well, you know what? We're the first ones in, got the offer in. Maybe we're going to get it. Maybe this is our lucky chance. It's possible there'll only be 2 offers and I could definitely play with that. But most of the time I'll hear realtors go, well, it's an underpriced property, so there's going to be 10 offers and my client doesn't have a chance in hell of getting it. Okay, that's definitely a cognitive bias on the negative thinking. You're not helping yourself. So there's no point in thinking of that. If you're going to think one way, think positive. Stop thinking negative. It makes no sense. But the cognitive bias one, you have to be really conscious about it. And I'll give you a tip on that in a second. And then the fourth one, which is a serious one, guys, is called mental health conditions. And when you have negative thoughts that can be a symptom of depression, anxiety, or PTSD, okay, that is mental health condition. And that really takes a different priority with negative thinking patterns. There's a lot of people during COVID and after COVID, maybe they let their bodies go. Maybe they let their brains go. Maybe they let their anxiety get too much of them. Maybe their support system disappeared and you're seeing that it's more of a mental health condition, I should say. We always recommend, full disclosure, is that if you find that it is affecting you depressed, anxiety, post-traumatic stress syndrome, you need to actually see a professional. I wouldn't actually try any of this if I knew that it was affecting me from a mental health issue, like in depression. What I mean by that is you're in a depressive state and your thinking pattern is just, you can't get out of it. And nothing I say today is going to make a difference. And if you know that, you got to get help. Okay. But understand, negative thinking is normal. I keep telling everybody that. Remember what we said at the beginning, 40,000+ thoughts a day run through your head. 80% of them are going to be negative. Negative is stronger than positive. And on top of that, 95% of those 80% of negative thoughts are repetitive. Okay, I will tell you, every single day I catch myself beating myself up over something. There is something. Yesterday, I went for an amazing run, like an amazing run. Though the whole run, I was like, I suck. I'm going to suck wind. I suck. My body hurts. I think I gained 10 pounds. Doesn't feel good. I'm going to suck. Like, it just didn't stop. But I had to I had to stop, do some shit, get over it, move on. I'm not immune to it. Nobody is immune to negative thinking. So, you know what? Like I said, people who walk around really positive and happy have brought it from 80% to about 50%, and they're in full control. They're balancing negative and positive all the time. Okay. So what you're looking at is that there's only a few solutions to this. Okay. It's not really that complex. And I know you guys are going to maybe roll your eyes a little bit, but it works. Okay. The concept is not to eliminate all negative thoughts, because that means you've lost your marbles. Okay. And I mean, you can have people who have 80%, positive thoughts, but I'm just not sure if I don't know what they're doing to get there, but it ain't normal. All right. And those people are probably they're a little scary, to me at least. So anyway, you're trying to get down to that good balance of 50% negative, 50% positive, and then some mechanisms to kind of pull you through those challenging times. The first thing that I always suggest is meditate. I am not even kidding you. It is so undervalued. I don't know why, but it's undervalued. You can go crazy and buy the Muse, MUSE. You can buy a real brainwave one. Okay. And when I said go crazy, I own one. Okay. Full disclosure. I own a freaking Muse. Why do I own one? Because I love it. I literally love it. It's the only thing I like to see results, and it measures my brain activity. So it's actually really super cool. If you are in that space where you go into a spiral of serious negative thoughts, meditate every day. I don't care what it is. If you want to go more, organically, Calm, the app Calm, is amazing. I have never seen such a good app in my life. So that is a really good one. It's called Calm. There are many electronic meditation headbands and stuff that you can use that are similar to that. There's Leaf that you can put on your wrist. There's a lot of shit that you can do for meditation wise. You can join yoga, but I'm kind of on the fly. I like to do it. So I'm going to say meditation is one of the biggest things. Okay. The next thing is challenging it. Okay. And this is a big one I wrote down here. Okay. Are they actually true? Is your negative thoughts true? A lot of the times it's full of shit. Okay. And that's what you have to remember, is that these are just thoughts. They don't necessarily mean they're true. Okay. But have you ever kind of it's weird. You'll go into the office and then you'll be surrounded by 20 people who are all just having really bad years. Right. And then they'll be the market's crashing. It's terrible. Nobody's selling anything. We're all going to die. It's just horrible. Okay, so that is challenging the negative thoughts. If you don't think that impacts you, it does. Get the F away from all negative people. Okay, I don't care what I have to say on this. I don't care if it offends people. Like I said, a lot of people are negative, but you need to get away from them. Okay, you really need to get away from them, because the more you're in the realm of all these negative people, the harder it really becomes. Okay, to break these patterns. So really challenge the negative thoughts and say, are these real? When you're listening to everybody at the office and they're all complaining that they're not doing well or something like that, just take a step back and be like, why do they see it that way? Is this really real? No, this is 8 agents that may have had them, hypothetically. These are 8 agents that maybe sat on their asses and didn't do anything, and now they're not getting the results they wanted to get. Okay, so is that really a negative thought? No, the positive is, again, it's only May 15th. You can change anything on May 15th. You can start a whole new career on May 15th if you really wanted to. Okay. So anything is possible. Let's not kid ourselves. So you want to challenge them. The next thing you want to do is what we call reframing. I did a reframing session with a coaching client on Friday, and it was awesome. Just to get a message from that client later on that day that said, because it's true NLP coaching. And so we went right into reframe, and the client texted me at the end of the day, was like, how do I feel so good? How do I feel this good? And I was like, because when you reframe something, it is the most powerful thing that you can possibly do. So reframing is the NLP technique. If you look it up, reframing is just when you take something and you reverse it into something more positive. You see it for something positive. So for example, you know what? When all those years that I saw myself as severely overweight and I beat myself up and I didn't love myself the way I should, okay, I was very negative about it. Reframing means I'm seeing it differently. And I'm going, you know what? I am an amazing person. And I went through a lot of trauma in my life. And this is just a result of me losing a little bit of control, but I'm super aware of it. And now I've got a goal. I've got dedication. I've done way harder shit before than losing weight. So I'm ready to do this. It doesn't mean I'm going to live life and go, I'm so happy, I'm out of breath climbing the stairs, or, and now I'm triple XL or whatever the case is. That's not real. What's real is to say, hey, stop being so negative about yourself and really start to reframe it so that you're looking at where you want to go instead of where you are. Okay. So instead of just saying, here's where I am, I'm a terrible person. I don't need to beat myself up for that. I need it to just be positive. If you're not where you are in sales and it's May 15th, then don't beat yourself up over that. If you have somebody that screwed you over, a family or friend or somebody, and they screwed you over, and now you don't have, you didn't get the sale or something like that, you don't need to beat yourself up over, or you don't even need to think they're terrible people. Be like, you know what? This is not about me. This is about them. They're not great at being a good friend, or, they made a decision that was very hurtful, and I am hurt, but you know what? I'm going to use this as positive motivation. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get 2, 3, 4 more clients. And you know what? I'm going to be really cautious in the future about helping this individual, but I've learned a lot. And that's really where you want to go with reframing. Reframing is an amazing, amazing technique. Again, you're not delusional when you're reframing. Okay, that's not the purpose of reframing. Purpose of reframing is to just look at a scenario differently and say, okay, I'm being really hard right now. I need to really look at the positive. I need to be very positive about it. Somebody said to me the other day, they said, a coaching client said, I feel bad sometimes. I show up to a coaching call and I didn't do what you said. I feel like just a total loser, and I can't deal with myself. And I said to the person, I said, can I ask you a question? They said, yeah. I said, first of all, I know you want to make me happy because I am your coach, and we have goals. And when you show up, we celebrate those goals, and we don't hit those goals. Yeah, it kind of feels sucky. I said, but here's the thing. I said, what's the positive here? And they're like, well, I said, the positive is I'm here. I got your ass, man. I've got you. And I'm like, wherever we go here together. Is that not better than being freaking alone? And the person was like, yeah, I guess so. And I said, so the one person that has your back, I said, I got you. Here's where we're going to go. I said, you're sitting there going, oh, I feel like I let you down. I said, did you think that I never thought you'd screw up? And they're like, no. Did you think that I would never think you'd have a bad week? No. Did you think that I'm not proud of the 10 other great things you've done this year so far? Oh, I guess so. And I'm like, exactly. And are you alone? They're like, no. I said, okay, reframe this shit. I said, guess what? You had a bad week. You're freaking human. Let's move on. Are we going to crush the shit out of the next week? Yeah. Do you have the ability to tell me what you need from me to get you next level? Yep. Perfect. Done. Okay. So you can reframe that fast. Okay. Really, really fast. And there are days where I have to really dig deep in it. But if you're ever interested in reframing, either talk to me about that from NLP perspective, or just look up what reframing is and the best techniques to reframe NLP wise, and you'll see. It's my favorite technique. And if it's done right, you're going to love it. The next thing you want to really do is gratitude. Okay. Here's the thing. The best way to conquer negative thinking is to give positive thinking back. Okay. To think of positive shit. A week or 2 ago, I showed you my gratitude jar. It's behind me now. But my gratitude jar, and it's amazing how many people said to me, you know what I did? I took the jar, I brought it into my office, and I said, you know what? We're going to just load this all the time with positive shit. And it's true. Gratitude goes a long way. It goes a long way. Force yourself into habit. Every single day, send gratitude message. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. If you randomly send one message out a day and say, and to anybody, doesn't matter who, just be like, hey, I just want to say, I know we didn't put the offer together the other day, but you know what? I appreciated the offer, and it was actually great just talking to you. I've never spoken to you before. And you know what? You seem really cool and awesome, and I hope we put another deal together. Watch what happens. We are such in a society where all we do is either bash ourselves up or we're bashing other people up. We always seem to have an opinion on everything. And you know what? Instead of having an opinion on everything, why don't we just share some gratitude? Hand it out to the freaking universe every day. Tell somebody that they mean something. Tell somebody thank you for something. And guess what will happen? You will literally, I guarantee you that you want to get from 80% negative thoughts to 50%. This is your fastest route. Okay. And it is uncomfortable. Okay. Like I did some gratitude calls last week. Holy shit. It was uncomfortable for me. Why? Because I'm a ball buster, right? So I'm like, go, go, go. Let's build the businesses. And it was like really awkward for me. But you know what? I got all these messages after from people saying, hey, I just want to say thank you. Like, you know what? And I was like, oh man, it felt really good. It felt really good. So I know people who every day they go through a Starbucks or a Tim Hortons and they buy the person behind them their stuff. Okay. Like I said, I stopped doing that when I saw a guy in a beat up car behind me, and I said, I'm going to pay for their order. And I went and I said, I'm going to pay for the guy behind me's order. Because I saw a guy in a car, didn't look very expensive car. I was like, all right. But he looked like he was by himself. Holy shit. He was buying for his entire office. I like literally, she goes, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, let's do it. And then she's like, yeah, well, it's going to be $120. I'm like, oh shit. What did he order? I was like, did he order Juan Valdez? I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, so long story short, we ended up doing that and it was awesome. And he actually caught up to me and because I maybe intentionally drove really slow, but he caught up to me and he was like, I just want to tell you, he's like, that was like so stellar. He goes, I bet you didn't know. He goes, you didn't have to do that. And I'm like, you know what? It was the right time in the right place. And he gave me a little bit of his personal story and he told me that he was doing the job and blah, 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 and like all the above. And I said, you know what? I said, listen, it was worth it. Okay. So when you're doing something gratitude wise every single day, look for it. You can go and change almost 30% of your negative thoughts will be eliminated by doing gratitude. And then the last thing is what we refer to as breaking the pattern. Okay. So if you want to break a pattern of something, and you're a negative thought process, here's what I'm going to suggest you do. Go out and break it. Okay. If you're in an office environment and you find that in the daytime, you're like, let's say you're at home. Let's say you're working from home every day. And every day you're like, I can't shake how shitty I feel. Like I just want to rip people's heads off, or this person's an asshole, or I don't want to call that person. Well, great. Guess what? That's the wrong environment. Break the pattern and get the hell out of it. Get out of that environment as fast as you can. Run, don't walk, get out of it. Okay. Same thing with office spaces. Same thing with certain friends. But doing something that makes you happy is actually one of the best ways to break a negative thought pattern. So my version of happiness might be going for a great bike ride. And I will just go. And if I want to break a pattern, I got 25 minutes. I have a route. I bust open my bike and I'll just change really quick and I'll go boom. And it'll just make me happy. Or I'll reach out to that one friend that makes me really happy. But get out of your environment and do something that you like. It is so worth it. You have to fight for this shit. Right? And I keep telling people that it's like, you can't just say sedentary and trick your brain. Get out of the environment so you can have a fresh start. Go outside, take a quick walk, walk your dog, walk your cat, walk your lizard, whatever it is, but get out of your your lizard. Look at Romeo. He's sound asleep. This is like the miracle. I'm like literally like, I did something right today. Because like that dog is asleep. But anyway, and he never sleeps. Okay. He's just a puppy. So this is like a miracle. Anyway, so long story short, get out and break the habit somewhere. Okay. Do something to break it and do something, what I refer to as joyful. Okay. And if you struggle with that, just write down a list. Be like, go to a Starbucks, do something, call a friend, but get out of the environment. Okay. So just remember a few things. Negative thoughts are serious, but they should occupy almost 80% of your 40,000 plus thoughts a day. 95% of them are repetitive. Most of them are not true. Okay. They're just thoughts. But they exist. They're more powerful. So that's why you feel like you might be slighted to negative. And these are the easiest tips that you can. The fastest way, gratitude. Give it once a day. Give somebody gratitude and watch. When you make other people's days, your day becomes better. But also, most of this shit isn't true. So look at it from reality and be like, is it really that bad? Or is it my head creating something that's really not this bad? Okay. So kick your ass out of negative thought processes, because what it can do, as you can see, is it can give you a lot of negative experiences. It can crash your business. It can lose your friends. It can cost you relationships, and you can get really in a habit of sticking there if you don't change it. Okay. Hopefully a little bit longer today. Hopefully you loved it. And we will see you guys as we talk about Peter Principle next week. This is going to be a good one.